Hi there gamers, Microsoft has decided to release Forza Horizon 2 in their August Games with Gold package, so I thought it might be a good moment to get you up to speed on how to drive like a real pro in Forza Horizon 2. But before we get on with tips, let me inform you that all footage seen in this video clip was recorded on the highest difficulty with all assets turned off except for damage, which is set to cosmetic. Furthermore, none of the cars were tuned. They are bought and used with the factory specs to show you that there's no need for tuning in order to win on highest difficulty, although it makes the job a lot easier. You may also notice the slight differences in performance index between cars is not a huge leverage. It depends on the car, but usually a difference of 50 points is something you should be able to cope with. Having that in mind, we are ready to go. First and foremost, learn how to behave on the road. Forza Horizon 2 may inspire reckless driving as it gives you score for wrecking stuff, but smashing other drivers or solid walls gives you no points, resets the score and slows you down. When going into corner, it may seem like a good idea to lean on the other car, but in most cases it isn't. You may gain advantage over that particular driver you've just hit or even eliminated, but you lose much speed and this gives others a chance to overtake. And if there's an opponent in front, you will gain distance between you, which will be hard to compensate. Stick to the racing line and avoid walls and other drivers. Speaking of racing line is the fastest and most optimal route through the track. It's the arrowed line that you can turn on in the settings. Lots of players use it, but if you want to improve, you may want to turn that off. The idea is to tackle corners in a way that lets you spend least amount of time in it and exit it with maximum speed possible. In order to do so, you should enter corner from the outside, hit the corner apex and exit using the width of the track. Tricky part is to determine the best time to brake and then accelerate. Braking point depends on many factors. You will need more than one approach to find the best point. Use visual details like a lamp, post or any other distinguishable point on the track to help yourself remember when to brake. Same applies to exit point and accelerating. However, both things require additional skill, which is each time you squeeze throttle or brake, car transfer its balance center. That makes it unstable and causes under or oversteer. Important skill in controlling the car's balance is to make use of analog gamepad triggers. When braking, push the trigger gradually. This way you'll avoid locking the wheels and sliding. Same applies to throttle. When you've hit the apex of a corner, push throttle gradually. Pushing throttle too hard will cause real wheel-driven cars to start spinning because of too much power transfer. Every car is allowed a number of traction points, which are used when braking, turning and accelerating. While racing, you'll often need to either brake and turn or accelerate and turn. When you hit the brakes to fullest while going fast, you'll use up all traction points, so when you'll turn your wheels, the car won't listen. Having that in mind, remember that the more you turn, the less you can allow yourself to brake or accelerate. During slight turn, use most of throttle, during medium turn, use half of it, and so on. Act accordingly. Straights can tell you which car is faster, but corners tell you which driver is faster. So let me tell you how to gain advantage in corner and pass others while going through it. Remember that I told you that entering a corner from the outside is the best way to tackle a corner? That stays true. But driver that is about to overtake can take advantage of that. If you follow close enough, you can switch to the inside lane, brake a bit later than your opponent, and if you were close enough, he won't have a choice but to take the corner wide. You are now on a shorter route through the corner. The only thing you need to do is to secure front position on the exit and voila, you got him. Staying behind someone lets you go faster because you're avoiding front wind, which slows you down. Make use of the in-game effect of slingshot, which lets you jump out from drafting to the front. You can either use that on straights or before attacking in corner. Drift is cool, but slows you down. Although it's arcade game, it's better to avoid slides. There are some situations where a bit of drift is okay, but try to avoid it, you'll still be fine. Manual transmission makes the game more exciting and is the biggest boost you can get out of all the skills. One of many advantages it offers is the ability to use engine brake. Look at the example. None of the car uses brake, but the car on the right loses speed faster. That's because dropping gears is slowing the engine. Using engine brake doesn't use up traction and allows for faster speed drop. This way your braking is way more efficient. It's easier to learn basic on less demanding cars. Remember that you can always choose which championships you want to go for. Try some cars that are either forward-wheel drive or all-wheel drive like Hot Hatch or Modern Rally. After you get used to these, start going for something less powerful but with real-wheel drive, like Cult Classics. Then switch to something powerful, heavy and real-wheel drive, like American Racers. If you learn to get a grip of all these, you have basically mastered them all. If you're starting off with an easiest settings, here's my suggestion on which assets to turn off first. Driving line, stability control, braking, ABS off, traction control, shifting, manual. If you're struggling with manual, try turning previous things on and focus on shifting. As for steering, I think it's a thing of preference. I've seen lots of top players playing on arcade setup, saying that realistic is meant for steering wheels, but I prefer to use realistic on gamepad. They skip rewind? Turn that off immediately. Remember that race doesn't end after the first few corners, and if you're not leading by then, that's still okay. Racing is fun when you have to fight for each position and you take them one by one. Tracks are long and on circuits you have 3 laps. Stay focused and perfect the corners. Don't get discouraged and avoid hitting restart, unless you crashed out of the race. Also remember that the game allows you to lose on 1 or 2 events, as different AI can win each one. There's nothing wrong in being else than first on particular track. It's more realistic as it may not suit your car or skill. It takes time to learn all these skills and start racing on highest difficulty, but Forza Horizon 2 in general is easy and forgiving but pleasurable. As the racing saying goes, sometimes you need to slow down in order to be faster. Be patient, be clean and smooth, you'll get faster there. We've reached the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and soon we'll be able to drive like the best. Thanks for watching and see you on the streets of Nice.
Alright, you made it! And now it's time to party before we head out for tomorrow's road trip.